Move the chains.
Welcome to the End Zone. Let's move the chains. We are on California. The Golden Bears. This is our second preview in the Pac-12. We're sweeping across the country, doing all the previews for all the teams in college football. So let's talk Cal football 2021. If any year was Cal's year to make a next step in the right direction for the program, 2021 is that year. I am bullish on the Bears to be an under-the-radar Pac-12 North contender, and I love the absolute toughness Justin Wilcox has brought to this California program. Cal has 10 super seniors returning to the team, and a majority of their production is coming back to play this season. Around the Cal program, it seems like the players and personnel are buying into this year being the year for the California Bears and winning possibly the Pac-12 North and the Pac-12 outright. Let's take a look at the strengths of Cal heading into this season. As always, with Justin Wilcox, the defense will be a focal point of this football program. And the key players on the defense are Coin Ding. I think I pronounced his last name right. I know his first name was pronounced correctly. And then Cameron Good. The two senior outside linebackers. Cameron Good can get to the quarterback. I watched some of his tape. Wow, he's fast and he's got a high motor. I also think that the secondary is quite strong. The passing defense finished second in the Pac-12 and 23rd nationally last season. I know that I don't really like to look back at last season a lot because all these numbers and everything that happened last year was just skewed, but that's something to keep an eye out for. Look for Elijah Hicks, the senior safety. Really like him. And as I mentioned before, there's a lot of returning production on this team. So there are a lot of players who are familiar with what's going on. They're going to have a whole season to actually learn the offense and not have a stripped down offense. When you look at this offense, they're also returning most of their offensive line. Chase Garbers, returning quarterback. And the leading rushers are coming back. Most of the wide receivers. He had one transfer to Mississippi State. But as a whole, this team is returning a lot of their production. Weaknesses, I look specifically first towards the special teams because they were bad last year. You could blame the Oregon State and Stanford losses on the special teams because they had a lot of mistakes. There's really no excuse for Cal here. You got to clean up the special teams play. Offensively, this unit was one of the worst in the Pac-12, but I blame a lot of that on a weird COVID season. This offense was stripped down and they weren't really able to embrace the philosophy and ideologies that they would have wanted to. I just don't like to look at 2020 and really put an emphasis on that because this offense could have been better if it were not for a weird season. And I actually think Chase Garbers and company are better when you take a closer look. Garbers is the most seasoned quarterback in the Pac-12 but needs help from his outside receivers. That's the main weakness for me on this offense. They need to get explosive plays, and I think Jeremiah Hunter will be the guy to do that this year. Let's take a look at this schedule and see how Cal can do. On the schedule, I see 6 games where Cal should win on paper. The rest of those games, I don't think should be considered outright losses, but could be toss-ups. Nevada, Sacramento State, Washington State, Colorado, Oregon State, and at Arizona. Nevada wasn't bad last year, and some of these teams could trip up Cal, but if you're Cal and your goal is to win a Pac-12 championship, these 6 games should not worry you when you look at the schedule. Unfortunately, these games are mostly at home. You like to get these away and have your hard ones at home, but that's not the case for Cal this year. They've got kind of an uphill battle on the road. Now going to games that could go either way. At TCU, at Washington, at Oregon, USC, at Stanford, and at UCLA. Did you notice something about these games? Almost all of them are away. TCU is in Texas, which is always tough for a Pac-12 school to go and play in a different time zone. They then go to Washington after getting an FCS game. Oregon finishes off the first portion of that season before they go on a nice run of Colorado, OSU, and at Arizona. By this time of the year, Cal could very easily be 6-3 at its worst, but also 7-2, maybe by the grace of God, 8-1 or undefeated. That's when the toughest stretch of the schedule pops up. USC, at Stanford, and at UCLA. USC and UCLA, the two California schools, they have dynamic offenses, and they should at least by that time, and Cal has to be ready to put up points, and those two games really worry me. Stanford, a huge rivalry, and it's away. When I look at Cal, I grade them higher than most college football analysts. I see them with a floor of 7 wins, a ceiling of 9. I don't know if they can, run the table. Some people have high expectations of Cal within the program. On the outside, mostly it's 7 wins. I really think they can get 8 to 9 wins, which would be huge for Cal. If they can beat Oregon and kind of take care of the rest of the Pac-12 North, maybe take that loss to Washington, a loss outside of the Pac-12 North, and then a loss to TCU, they could very well be contending. This is a Cal team that can make it to the Pac-12 championship this year. I think that a lot just relies on the offense finding its footing, and I think that they can do that with a proper offseason, and Chase Garber's coming back, most of the offensive line. I'm confident in the California football team heading into this season. I'd love to know your opinions down below, though. What do you think the outcome of this season will be, and how do you feel about Cal? Thanks for watching the EndZone. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment so we can move the chains.